listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean. Steve Hall here today. You can, Steve Empty Hall, as he's known in the business. Text the show.
A lovely start.
Quite an intro, Frank.
Text the show, not really. Text the show at 8 12 15 if you would. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio if you please. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website if you're over mine too.
I like Frank's new method of dispensing with insults. He just says, "Oh, not really." Anyway, I think Donald Trump should try that. Not really.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
I think that's what the standard comedian thing. You really abuse someone in the audience, then say, "Nah, mate." At the end, you say, "Thanks for being a good sport." That's how it works. That's how it works.
7 years of being a good sport.
Anyway, here we are on Absolute Radio.
Morning, Tokyo.
Come on.
Good morning, Tokyo.
Happy to be seeing you.
Happy to be seeing you.
Oh, that cheers me up, I can't tell you. Cheers me, honestly.
It's been a great
Some
start to
people
the morning.
they have a double espresso. I just listen to that.
I had my coconuts.
Yeah.
Emily's been offering her coconuts around to the
Stop it.
room.
What
they're
about
delicious.
the Olympics? I'm enjoying that, Frank.
Yes, me too.
I say I'm enjoying it, but I don't get to see an awful lot of it because it is on at 2 a.m.
Well, no, it isn't on. It's on. It's on more or less all day. I've watched it every night since it's been on. You just get the chunk of it. I watched the trampoline in last night.
Oh, did you, Frank?
The Canadian girl.
Never mind her, we got silver in it. Bryony Page, who got silver in the trampoline. I must admit, I'll be straight with you, I know the name now of our representative, or one of them. I didn't know trampolining was an Olympic event until about 7:30 last night. But she won it, and God bless her afterwards. She won silver, and she said, well, I honestly, I couldn't have asked for any more. And I thought, well... But no, it's great. Have you ever seen it? Ever seen the trampolining?
No.
What do they have to do then? Do they have to do some... Well,
a lot
clearly.
of bouncing.
But where does the skill and the technique come in? Because I can do the trampoline, love.
Well, first of all, they bounce really, really high.
Oh, yeah.
And they bounce so high that there's time to do triple, quadruple, salsa, somersaulty thingies in the air. So they're spinning and all. But the
I
routines...
think we need to get you in as the commentator.
Yeah, I think so. We'll be all right with that. The routines last about 20 seconds. I'm not kidding.
Really is.
Imagine that, 4 years practice. That's that out of the way. 20 seconds. Anyway, it's been marvellous. And the Coxless Fours, of course. I don't know why they keep bringing that up. They're nice lads.
I love the rowing
They
coverage.
met
It's
in
brilliant.
hospital. 3 of them had shut the oven door too quickly. The other one was an automobile thing.
He gets so excited every 4 years because he knows there'll be Coxless Falls material.
It's worth the whole Olympics. This was worth that. I haven't even got round to the rings yet. Anyway, can I ask you a technical question?
You may.
You know when you watch the, I believe, is it called the floor exercise in
I
gymnastics?
love the floor, yeah. Ribbons akimbo.
Do they score... No, that's the, that's different.
Oh, is it? Oh, I apologise.
That is the rhythmic gymnastics
Oh, I
you're
love
talking
that
about.
you know all this, Frank.
With
No,
the
on the
ribbons.
floor. I know what you mean with the floor.
Imagine being a sports person who arrives with ribbons. I mean, that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Hold on, just you got me ribbons, Paul. Give me, I nearly forgot me ribbons. Can you imagine it? Yeah.
If you forget them, you just have to find the nearest birthday shop.
What would you do if you forgot your ribbon?
Oh, you'd be going around, because everyone's got ribbon in a drawer somewhere. Because, you know, if you get if I get a nicely wrapped gift, I think it's a shame to throw that ribbon away.
Keep it.
I'd be out with that one. I'd still have a little bit of sellotape on it.
And it would still have Merry Christmas on it. And all frayed at the edges, Frank.
Oh, no, it has the snake tongue endings normally on those. Yeah. That's what I'd do. I'd just work something out, actually. Sorry, I'll explain later. We have... I should explain about... After this, I'll explain you about what I'm calling the new system. Don't worry, there hasn't been a coup during the night. But things have changed at Absolute Radio, and you know what? It ain't never going to be the same again.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, you were chuckling to yourself before, Frank. What was that over? Would you care to share it with us?
Well, because Charlie, the producer, normally hands me a note saying what the next thing is. So, you know, the name of the song or adverts or stuff like that. It's a way of saying stop talking and do your job. But we have a new system now at Absolute, and I had to come in this week for a training day.
Well, I love... Charlotte told me in the week, she said, I can't talk to you then, Frank's got his training. It's gone so Mike Baldwin's factory, he's got his training.
I had to come in and do my training day, which was quite... It's a bit like being a normal person. Just for an afternoon. And it's all right.
Did you enjoy it?
I don't know what they moan about. It's all right. Anyway, so this is much... It's called... this new system is called the Lorax.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think I caught one of those in Pokemon the other day.
Yeah, it's based on the Dr. Seuss book. And I don't know why it's called that. It actually isn't. It isn't called that. It's just that I've just been told that one thing you mustn't be on a radio show is gappy. So if there's anything you don't know, make it up.
Okay.
So we're operating on the Lorax.
Well, in your case, lie.
Yes. Well, I don't think it's exactly. Who cares what it's called? And what is it called, Charlie?
All right, Bill Clinton.
Pardon? Zeta. Was my name better or was it not? It was better than Zeta.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
My stomach rumbled. So...
Oh, sorry. Sorry, would you like to explain that, Emily? It's your area.
No, I think I'd like you to explain it on my behalf.
Well, Emily works in the fashion industry, as you may know, and this is a bit poor, and we disapprove, but if anyone's stomach rumbles, the whole office applauds. I'll let you work out
It's
why.
a joke.
It's a joke, of course. I mean, come on, it's a joke.
Before you start sending me abusive emails, it's a joke.
Oh,
Do the office, do they need a training day to practice?
So what happened with Zeta?
So I've worked it out now, the Lorax. I'm going to stick with that. I like my name better. And it's so... Oh, it's going to be a much more professional show, guys, if you're listening. There's going to be time checks, travel.
It's not.
There's a competition. You can win an anvil.
We tried to do a competition once.
Hammer and tongs, not included. So that was a jingle I just played, that wasn't me.
Frank, what about when we tried to do a competition 5 years ago and we were never allowed to do one again?
Terrible.
Because I think I read out the answer before we'd done it or something. I did. We don't understand things like that.
And we got a guest today, Nigel Cope is here, the inventor of the belt. Or as he used to call it in the old days, the hands-free. So, no, we haven't got any of those things. We'll be as unprofessional. But, so I've actually I've been trained. I'm now sitting looking at a completely different desk.
Okay.
Wow. Do you have to? Do you get tested? Do you have to pass? You get a certificate?
Yeah, I got tested. They made me do. I sort of have already done this show, but with different jokes. Obviously, I still did jokes, even though it was training day, because that's the kind of a guy I am. And the only thing I didn't get to play was...
Morning, Tokyo.
I mean, whoa! Is it nice? Is it nice or is it not nice?
Happy to be seeing you.
Thank you.
Happy to be seeing you.
Oh, I wish that woman worked for me. Imagine a little tap on the bedroom door every morning. Then I suppose you'd have to let her out.
Yeah.
I feel like the Lorax has gone to your head. This is... You've got a glint in your eye.
I love it. I love Laura.
Can I just say we're doing so well. We're third in the Olympics.
I knew that.
7 medals.
Yes. No, more than that.
7 golds.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Germany is 6th.
What's your point?
I'm just saying.
World War II was not a waste of time.
Maybe.
I'll tell you something else in a minute.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So, I know we need to talk about the Olympics, but there's one particular area I would like to kick off with, which is to do with some of the sartorial choices of the presenters,
oh, yes.
unsurprisingly. I've got some opinions on this.
Okay.
Helen Skelton, I believe her name is.
Oh, yes.
I can't hear her name without thinking of the Beatles' White Album. Helen Skelton.
Oh, yes.
Helen Skelton. That's one of those little earworms I can't get out of my head.
No, I can see that.
That's great. Let's talk about clothes, though.
I know, but if Helen Skelton ever gets a radio show, she's got to get that done as a...
That's our little jingle.
Definitely.
In the proper... It's
McCartney, I think, isn't it?
Doon, doon, doon. Helen Skelton! Helen Skelton! Yeah, it'd be great. She's probably already got a radio show. Everyone has.
Oh, we have, for heaven's sake.
We have. I suppose we better do it. Stop just talking like we're in an ale house.
Helen Skelton. We need to get a little jingle for her.
Just that bit.
Yeah. She's been getting the viewers into a right old
Can we just try
lather.
this? Helen Skelton. Better or worse? I think stick with Helter Skelter.
Oh, I quite like that.
Okay.
It's growing on me.
I should say, with the new system, I can see my jingles more clearly, and now I can't leave them alone. This is why I never wear elasticated waist trousers.
I think that new system is not good for someone with this, like, borderline ADHD, if you don't mind me saying.
You might be right. You've been right before, for God's sake. Carry on.
So, Helen Skelton...
Yeah.
You're just playing with the waistband, aren't you?
I am.
She has been getting the viewers into a right old lather because of some of her choices, her clothing choices. Firstly, they said she showed too much leg.
Oh, for goodness.
She had a little play suit on, it was. I thought she looked fantastic.
A play suit? Now, where do you define that?
A play suit means... It's a bit like a little baby grow, except with a skirt. So what it means...
Oh, it's a skirt rather than a short.
Think of a cut-off jumpsuit, Frank. Imagine the jumpsuit was cut off.
You know what? I will do that.
At the thigh.
Hold on. Oh. So it was a bit gappy, but I was thinking... Actually, the jumpsuit I thought of was a bit gappy as well.
Often with a dungaree format.
Oh.
In the chest area. Now, she also wore spaghetti straps.
I love spaghetti straps.
Love them.
I do. I love their little tussle with the bra strap.
I do.
That's great.
I do, Frank.
Who's going to win, we think to ourselves. Yes.
That's the only winner we care about poolside. Now,
Yes.
The thing is, I think she looks absolutely fantastic. And it's so rare to see someone looking fashion forward in those Olympics. Those people can't dress, they look disgusting. She looks incredible.
Well, they're used to sportswear, you see.
They look like apprentice candidates, I can't bear it. She's stylish. Her stylist is Cobby Yates, who is Reggie Yates' brother.
Is that right?
Yeah. We've worked with Cobby Yates. He styles Bieber Belieber. He styles Cara Delevingne.
Oh, God, he's done well.
Yeah. Jessie
Bieber and
J.
Delevingne on the same CV. What a guy.
Jessie J.
Wow.
The one-arm jumpsuit at the Olympics.
Is that what she's called, the one-arm jumpsuit? Never heard her called that before.
Anyway, I've talked too much
Funny
about
how these
fashion, and
nicknames come
I'll be
about.
boring the reader saying...
Well,
well,
I'm outraged. How dare Helen Skelton wear something, not particularly covering in Rio? She should be wearing a parka. She should be wearing a scarf.
At the side of the swimming pool, which is always hot.
Yeah. What do you think about this, guys? I mean, are you nervous to discuss it?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because can you even talk? Can we even, me and Steve, even mention Helen Skelton's legs without risking losing our entire careers?
Well, you can with me in the room, because you know I won't hold back.
I'll tell you why she's got good legs.
Yeah.
Tap dancer. It's a classic formula.
Ah.
I believe she's a registered teacher of tap dancing.
Is that right?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be a great end to the Olympics? With them all going, come on, Helen! Like, Zimba.
And she's married to a rugby league player, so I like
Yeah.
the idea she wooed him with her tap dancing.
Hold on. Trying to get some tap dancing. Not easy with a biro. Oh, the Lorax.
the new
the
system.
Lorax has let me down. If only it were Bakelite, things would be different.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Yes, Helen Skelton, we were talking about it off air.
I'm a huge fan, I've got to say.
Are you?
Well, only recently. I didn't know the woman from a bar of Imperial Leather before. But since this Rio, it was partly prompted by the clothes and Cobby's work, I won't lie. But I'm a new fan.
But is it all right? is it all right to say, oh yeah, good legs? Or is that a bad thing to say? I can't work that out anymore.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I mean, I was raised by the generation
I heard.
of Rye Slow Talker Walker on catchphrase. See what you see. And I don't know if you can do that anymore.
I think it's a because we'll all be presumably we'll all be saying it about Gary Lineker later tonight. That his legs will be on display.
Not necessarily. He might have terrible legs. No, actually, I've seen his legs, obviously, many times.
Yeah,
in
who
shorts.
hasn't seen his legs?
Well, yes, quite right. It wouldn't be all right if she had horrible legs to say she's got horrible legs.
Do you know what I think?
Although...
Sorry, let the men talk.
Then again, John Wayne is big leggy. They got away with that.
So I heard.
Yeah.
Bernie Clifton. Good legs, Bernie Clifton. I mean, they hang sort of limp along the side.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to know what I think about this?
Yes.
I think it all comes down to intent and the person saying it. You are allowed to say it because you are very much not a creep. Steve, I would say the same of.
Oh, less
thank
so.
you.
Then.
Yeah.
Maybe 7% less, if I'm being honest.
I think he's lives a little closer to creepdom.
He does, actually. I don't know why that is.
Good legs.
There you go, you see.
Frank, there would be a joie de vivre and an innocence. And I think that's why it's okay.
Well, look, what about 3 weeks ago, I said to Charlie, our producer, you know what, I saw her from an angle I'd never seen her from before, and I said, you know what, Charlie, you've got a really nice nose. And I thought it went a bit tense. I thought the whole room went a bit tense. And she's got one of those, what they used to call a ski slope nose.
I think it's retrousse, isn't it?
Is that what it's called? Just a slight rise at the end, just to get the propulsion.
It's the sort of nose that would be on a surgeon's wall.
Is that right?
Well, I think people would ask for that nose. I mean, we're all talking about it nowadays. It's gone a bit Chris Evans. Maybe we shouldn't be.
On a surgeon's wall, and maybe on Eddie the Eagle's drive. Yeah. But I thought, maybe I shouldn't have said, after I thought that was a bit, I think that's caused, there'll probably be at least an inquiry at Absolute about
An informal warning.
Yeah, I think that'll probably have to be a tribunal I'll have to speak to.
You'll be hauled up the long arm of the law axe.
Yeah. It'll be Frank Skinner's nasal charges. No, even that, though, I felt after I thought maybe I shouldn't have mentioned the nose.
No, it's fine. I think what's fine about it is it's open. I think if you were sending her direct messages on Twitter saying, you've got a nice nose, I'd have an issue with that.
But there must be some body parts that qualify as neutral. I mean, we were saying today, what about this for a text-in? How far do you have to be from the beach before beachwear is inappropriate?
Let's ask Orlando Bloom, he should know.
That pavement by the side, I think, like in Brighton, I find if I'm on the side of the road of the beach, I'm all right if I'm like a towel round me and shorts. That's it. If I'm on the other side, inappropriate. But how am I going to get home?
Well,
so how far? So Haywards Heath is too far from the beach in terms of Brighton.
Yeah,
I've been going horribly wrong.
Well, bikini top in the ice cream shop, yes. Bikini top at Sainsbury's.
You're rapping now.
Bikini top in Sainsbury's, no. No, thank you.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How do we work that out? I mean, say if a relative of mine died, and it was
charming, absolutely charming,
and it was really hot. Would it be all right to go and have that? You know that conversation with the funeral director when you look at the brochure and stuff. Would it be all right to do that in shorts and a vest top? Could I get away with a bereavement-based spaghetti strap? 8:12:15.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We've got a whatever happened to from Grant, who's tweeted us.
I'm not going to go with the jingle. I want to see if it's up there first.
Okay. Whatever happened to papier-mâché?
Whatever happened to papier-mâché?
I think that's rather good.
What? Is that the bloke that used to control the Smurfs?
But you don't see it. I mean, my childhood was just lots of buckets with glue and newspaper cuttings.
I know. You're right.
Yeah.
I used to be... Remember those masks? You could blow up a balloon, cover it in papier-mâché, and then burst the balloon, cut it in half. You got two masks. Not one. Not one mask. We've all got one mask, let's face it. But two masks.
On a similar, we had a similar.
We need
whatever
some
happened to-
primary school teachers. Do you still use papier-mâché? And also, how marvellous that was, looking back, one of the most exotic phrases of my childhood.
Oh, papier-mâché. I used to love saying
It was the height of avant-garde creativity.
I felt so French when I used to say it.
Yes, Miss, and we're going to do papier-mâché.
Is that literally mashed paper? Is that how that translates?
Mashed sounds a bit too literal to me.
Well, if any of our French correspondents are listening,
surely.
Hi there, they could maybe tell us.
Charlie, Sarah, do you speak French?
Well, I do, but I don't know mâché.
No. You know your problem? You don't know mâché.
Colin Dallas has emailed saying, I'm watching an old episode of Morse, and someone used something I haven't seen for years. Whatever happened to carbon paper?
Oh.
I think it all got used for papier-mâché.
I think it did. Oh, and Colin Morse has texted in to say he's watching an episode of Dallas. That is a real comment. I mean, what are the children? What are the children? Oh, you butler. Sorry. I amalgamated two comedy figures.
Clive has tweeted us. You were
From India?
You were talking us. You were talking to us earlier about whether the spaghetti strap was suitable attire for a formal occasion, a sombre occasion. For example, if you were in a funeral...
Directors.
Yeah, funeral directors.
I like they're called directors. Build their part a bit, don't they? Can you imagine one on a big... one of those, like, loud hailer things, and saying, OK, let's draw the clogs up now. OK, sorry.
Does a Mexican funeral director wear a sombrero?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because Clive says when we buried our mother in her native Italy, it was the funeral director who actually wore a Hawaiian shirt.
No.
And then he said it was a Saturday.
Wow.
At the consultation, he says, not the funeral.
I imagine
That's
in Hawaii,
990.
in Hawaii they wear black and white Hawaiian shirts. That'd be a lovely thing just for that. Should I say, every time I have to move on, by the way, I used to get a note from Charlie, I was saying this, saying shut up and then saying things like music and adverts and stuff, so I didn't just talk for half an hour. I know I do that. You know, we won best talk programme.
Best speech programme.
Yeah, speech. But every time I have to move on now, Charlie passes me a small fez. That's the symbol that we've adopted, a tiny fez, which is lovely, and it works because it means I know when to move on, like now.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So what else has been happening in the Olympics?
Can I say on the Red Skelton things, Red Skelton, I should say it was an old film star. On the Helen Skelton, someone texted in, didn't they, and said, "Yeah, well, never mind her legs. What about the fact that she went up the Amazon?"
Yes.
Well, she did a super ultra marathon that took a day and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I think I brought up the tap dancing.
Yeah.
Which to me is more impressive, personally. But one of the things that people have been saying, oh, well, Mark Foster had shorts on, and no one commented on that, because people don't comment on men's clothes. I've still got people stopping me in the street talking about the shirt that I wore at the test match.
Really?
10 days ago.
Well, it was worthy of discussion.
I was coming out of Mass on Sunday morning, and Henry Kelly stopped me. Henry Kelly from...
So I'm aware of his work.
From Going for Gold.
He goes to the same Mass as me.
Frank still says game for a laugh. I mean, he hasn't done that, poor man, since 1985.
No, but that's
He'll always be remembered for that.
That'll be in his time capsule. And he said to me, I saw your shirt featured on the test match.
Yeah.
So people... So, hey, we've all got our cross to bear. Helen.
You don't have Colby Yates styling you.
No, I don't know. Not yet.
To my...
I didn't know Cobby was till about... I thought he was a local baker.
I thought he was Cabby Yates.
Oh, yeah. Cabby Yates.
Because it's not just Helen Skelton. I'm fascinated by the chemistry between the three of them. Ms. Adlington.
Yes, and Mark Foster, isn't it?
I think Rebecca Adlington has been the great revelation of the... I think she's great.
Yeah.
She's a really good, natural, sort of knowledgeable presenter.
And
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's good.
Well, because she's achieved enough, so she's her CV is
They've all
already
achieved.
impressive. Is impressive enough.
They're achievers. Yeah, but achievers are often unspectacular conversationalists, don't you find?
Yes, I know what you
Whereas
mean.
she sparkles. And as best of all, there's a theory that she told Mark Foster to.
Well, okay, she used
the phrase.
category C swear word.
Yeah, the second word was off. But she did that on air.
They have since suggested that she said back off.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
Well,
I think, come on, it's a carnival atmosphere.
it was
You can
3
say that.
a.m. We've all been there. Everyone's had a few.
And
I think it's great. There should be more of that on sports coverage.
well, what was interesting was that she got grief for that, and she probably didn't say it. And yet Mark
she did say it.
Foster definitely did say it. Did you see the bit where his earpiece fell out?
Oh, really?
So it wasn't on it. He wasn't on the screen, but so they cut to the swim. They cut to pictures from the pool.
I'm really nervous.
And his audio feed, and he says the word and relates to the fact that his earpiece has just dropped out. So he definitely said it, and he's had less grief for actually saying it.
Yes, because she's a woman! Oh, sorry, everyone.
Oh, thanks for turning into one of those women's libbers.
Yeah, they're often they're obviously very close, though, aren't they? That
Oh, there was hand on the
Rebecca,
leg.
yeah. But also, they've I think there's nothing that bonds people more than a common enemy.
Who's
And
the
if
common
you're
enemy?
Verrucas. They've lived their life avoiding verrucas, and that it's a sort of, it's like the Blitz.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Stevie Hall. You can considered Stevie.
This is a bit of a worrying development.
Anyway.
Stevie.
It's a bit too Stevie, baby.
Hold on a minute. So you got to text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
We've still had a number of people saying, just teachers generally, getting in touch saying they still do papier-mâché.
Good news. I haven't seen any evidence at my son's school. I might introduce it at home. Then when they bring it up at school, he'll say, oh, yeah, I know this, papier-mâché. Yeah. I'm going to do it.
He'll be friendless, but ahead of the game.
What kind of paste do you use? 81215.
Yeah, for papier-mâché.
We used to, flour and water we used to use, I think, at home as paste in our scrapbooks.
Did you?
Yeah, just mix flour and water works.
We were copy decks all the way.
And Michael McClure says papier-mâché, it's chewed paper.
Oh, okay. Of course.
Mâché.
Pret-a-maché, ready to chew.
And Annie has said that apparently the phrase avoir une mine de papier-mâché means to look like death warmed up.
Is that right? Brilliant. Well done, Annie. The sun will come out. So, I don't think my son will come out tomorrow.
Oh, you went a bit gappy there. What happened?
I'm sorry, I did go a bit gappy. Gappy, that'd be a lousy musical.
I haven't heard anything that's been happening to you.
Well, I tell you what I did this week. I joined the zoo.
Did you?
You can get like a sort of a family ticket at London Zoo.
I hate to steal your thunder, but I've got one.
Have you got one?
I'm a zoo member. I get updates all the time from them.
Fab. How often do you go?
Not that often.
Okay. Doesn't matter.
I think I've been twice.
We've given them the money.
I think I saw a picture of you at the zoo.
Did you?
On social media.
What you talking about, Willie?
Were you there with Kevin Eldon? Was that?
Kevin Eldon was there. Bill Bailey.
I like to think
What
that's
was
just it's the old packet of three gang. Just
No,
having
it
a
was
catch
People
up.
that look vaguely like animals in some way.
I was invited.
Because let's be honest, Kevin Eldon is a bit simian.
Oh, well, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Frank,
I can't.
you look like a handsome meerkat, I suppose. So,
And
Thanks very
Bailey,
much.
Bailey looks like all sorts.
Well, we were invited. I didn't know it was going to be all comics. Richard Ranch was there. And
Oh, is he the Whose Line Is It Anyway man?
he's a piano
Yeah.
player.
Oh, yeah.
And we were invited to a breakfast at the zoo, and then we watched some other animals eating, as well as us, like seals.
Was this,
Brilliant.
with the children?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Boz fed a Columbus monkey, are they called?
BuzzFeed.
Yeah, BuzzFeed.
Yeah.
And also, they have to wear a rubber glove to feed the monkeys. And the monkey snatched Buzz's rubber glove off.
Oh.
And I think
how
the
did Buzz
most
cope with it?
Buzz has ever laughed at anything in his life. I think he really thought that the glove-snatching monkey was like... It was a good name for a pub if there's anyone sitting at home thinking, what are we going to call this pub now we've bought it? The glove-snatching monkey. He honestly thought that was the funniest thing that had ever... He's been telling people about it. Perhaps his first anecdote. Oh, it's always a special moment. So anyway, I joined, and you have to... It's one of these things where you have to have your photo taken, because you get photo ID, you know, so other people don't turn up at the zoo pretending, you know, trying to take your...
I think you've
all
got
that.
some celebrity joining thing, because...
No, I didn't. I just joined...
I joined online.
Before this, I just did it normally.
Okay.
I joined online, but then you have to go and get your
you have to
photo
have
ID.
photo.
Anyway, the photo ID didn't really work out, I'll be straight with you. It's they seem to have revived the ancient art of the silhouette. It's the worst. I mean... Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank could get into London Zoo on my ID. It's a sort of skeleton ID, you know, like a skeleton key. Anybody could get it. I'll show you. We should put a picture of it on.
Oh, I'd love to see
We'll put it
man.
online. I don't think there's any giveaway information on it, but the picture is... Well, I mean, I've never looked better. But... Oh.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've now seen your photo ID, Frank.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It looks like you're on
Do you
like
want it?
Police 5.
Do you want to nip to the zoo with this next week, Steve? You'll be fine.
It looks
Yeah,
like you're
any
one of
of us
those, like,
could.
it's like you're a whistleblower on a programme who's like, they've asked for their identity not to be revealed.
Exactly.
And
And
they'll
when
just show you talking and there'll be like subtitles for anything you
And
say.
the little helium voice. They favour the lower voice now, don't they?
Do they?
Oh, no. They talk like that, yeah. Criminals.
I haven't seen anyone shot in silhouette on the telly for ages.
Oh, I
They
do.
still do it.
Yes, because I watch a lot of,
People shot in silhouette because they've been involved in some sort of shady criminal activity in some way.
No, I like a fly on the wall, police procedural.
Yeah. Yeah, what happened to those people? Where are they now?
Anyway, so...
Where were
so
they
you
in the
did
first
zoo.
place?
So I need to get the whole passport photo thing. I mean, I've got a freedom pass coming up next year. I want to get it sorted.
Oh, are you going to do anything to mark the Freedom Pass?
Well, not deliberately, but at that age, I best not put it in a back pocket. The best picture I think I've ever had taken.
And I just
was-
don't think that quite got the credit it deserved. That
Thank
was
you.
extremely
Who
good
knows?
work.
Who knows what credit it got at home? The best picture I ever had, I think, was on an ID card back in the West Midlands, back in the day, and it was a thing that you could get if you were unemployed, and it was called a passport to leisure.
Didn't you already have that?
Yeah, well, and
Well.
it meant that you could go to local sports centres and things cheap. And the picture on my passport to leisure card, I tell you what I'm doing. I'm buttoning my trousers as we speak. Is that all right?
Get stuck in.
Buttoning rather than on.
You enjoy
buttoning.
the show.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best picture I've ever had taken.
That's great, because passport to leisure, that sounds like a euphemism for someone's P45. Like if you don't buck your ideas up, you'll be getting your passport to
Can
leisure.
I say I was very worried where that sentence was going to end. Passport to leisure sounds like a euphemism for somebody's pee, and I was on the edge of my seat. Thank God it was numbers. Phew. Speaking of age, what about this? I had the other
don't
night.
you put the fear of God into me when you say things
I
like that.
had a bowl of blackberries the other night. Sitting watching the Olympics.
Very
I thought,
underrated,
you know
the
what?
blackberry.
They are very underrated because, in a way, I'm still not totally sure the blackcurrant, the blackberry is the one with multiple orbs.
The blackberry, I'm going a darker, harder raspberry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good summary.
I enjoyed your pronunciation of blackberry, because it made me want to go bam-a-lam.
Oh, blackberry?
Yeah.
Bam-a-lam.
Ah! Blackberry. Anyway, so I had what I like is a bowl of is fruit with a bit of yoghurt on top. That's how I live my life.
Natural.
Well, we got a few fruit yoghurts, and it occurred to me that we got blackberry yoghurt.
Oh.
And I thought, well, now, is this a good thing or a bad thing, blackberry yoghurt on blackberries? And I said to Kath, can I ask your advice?
Advice? You actually needed advice on it.
And she said, what? And I said, because we've been together a long time, I said, what do you think about blackberry yoghurt on blackberries? And she said, I don't know. And I said, is it? And then I said, one of the oldest person things I think I've ever said. Do you think it's a bit too much of a muchness? I'd even forgotten that anyone had ever said that, and it just came out naturally out of me. Is it too much of a muchness? I mean, a younger man would have opted for overkill, presumably. But,
he would have said, is it going to harsh my mellow? Or something like that.
Have I created a yoghurt tautology?
Yeah, but I was so natural to me. Too much of a muchness. That's what's wrong with this show.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Had a tweet from Blueview8 in response to the picture of your photo ID. He just replied, "That is clearly Keith Chegwin."
Well, if Cheggers ever needs to go to the zoo, no, I think it's non-transferable actually.
Yeah.
But boy, temptation.
We could make an absolute killing.
That'd be a sick thing to do. Ticket touting at London Zoo.
I don't think you'd make that much, Frank.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. It's not cheap.
No, and it's popular as well.
It's very fine, I must say. I went off zoos for a long time.
Clear your throat, love. Okay.
I didn't like the way they used to skulk in their living quarters, the animals. But
well, they never delivered. I mean, the bears. They never delivered.
There's nothing more traumatic than a horrible zoo. Singapore Zoo is one of the more upsetting things I've ever
Berlin
been to.
upset me, Berlin Zoo. But London Zoo is lovely and caring and nurturing and has genuinely encouraged my child to be interested in nature. Anyway, let's got that out of the way.
Well, they've got those
200 quid they pay me to say that. Not really.
They've got those lovely shabby chic cabins now in the lion enclosure.
Have they?
We can stay in the lions now.
You can stay
Not
in the lion
Yeah,
enclosure.
in the lion area. You can stay there. I think we should all do it.
Goodness
Oh,
me.
come on, let's do the show from the lion enclosure.
Imagine if I was ripped apart by 3 lions. Can you imagine the headline? Oh dear. Anyway, I've been watching a bit of cycling this week, obviously.
Yeah.
And as you know, I have recently. Do you cycle, Steve?
No. I have done in the past,
You
but
can cycle.
I can cycle. But
You know, I have only recently started to dabble in the.
I see.
I mean, I'm too frightened to go on the road to this day, but I do in gated communities. I cycle. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be a very well-to-do Tour de France.
Yeah, I'd cycle around the zoo, for example. I'd be happy with that. But I was in. I was doing a bit of filming. I'll be straight with you.
Lovely.
In Margate. I actually went down to Margate. And you can keep the Costa Brava and all of that palaver, I would rather, etc. And a man came up. I do an art programme on Sky Arts. Right, and it's
I'm
called...
familiar with it.
Well, I did too, and the one I was working on was called Landscape Artist of the Year. So, there were people painting the bay at Margate. And a guy was on a bike, and he came down. Now, one of the artists, I don't think this is spoilers, he sort of added a bit to his painting by using his feet. So he started putting footprinty type bits in one corner to suggest people arriving on the beach and arriving in the country type of thing for the first time. The old migrant thing. And he was doing that. This kid come down, and there was a woman doing what I thought was a fabulous ink drawing next to it. And this kid on the bike said, "That's rubbish compared to that one there," which was a bit.
Yeah.
and he didn't use the word rubbish. I've cleaned it up a bit. And I said, oh, you think so? I said, well, everyone's entitled to their opinion. And he said, yeah, he did that with his feet as well. And I said, no, he didn't do all that with his feet. He just did that last smudgy bit with his feet. And the guy just rode off on his bike. And I thought, it's great for a faux pas, a bicycle.
Yes.
I'd never occurred to me before. Someone goes a bit, you're gone.
Yeah.
He was just gone.
Yeah.
And that's given me a bit more incentive.
Yeah. Well,
So-
you get the last word.
The fast getaway.
Yeah. And I actually,
I mean,
I was riding a bike in a gated community recently, and it's the first time since I've been messing about on a bike that I heard myself singing, because I only sing when I'm relaxed, and on a bike I'm very tense, you see. And I became aware that I was singing Joni Mitchell's Big Yellow Taxi.
and that was on the bike.
That was on the bike. I mean, ironic that I'd brought in another form of transport.
Oh, yeah.
One could call it a rival.
You're messing it all up now.
I know, but I thought that's a real step forward.
yeah.
I like that you did that.
On my bike, I seem to go. No. Yeah.
You don't seem at all mentally unwell.
No.
But that's a very good tip, you know, because in my early days of my horse riding, I'm now something of an expert equestrian, as you know. In the early days, my instructor would always advise that.
Singing.
Sing while you ride, if you're scared when cantering. It's a distraction, you see.
That's good.
He made me sing Spice Girls. Yeah.
Well, I was once. Oh, really?
Yeah. He said, what's your favourite Spice Girls song?
The trouble is, I'd be worried about losing control when I symbolise two become one. The horse might veer to the left. I was once on a horse in Montana, and I'm very bad on a horse as well, and I could not stop singing Champion the Wonder Horse.
Oh!
In fact, at one point I completely lost control of it, and it was the only way I stayed the same.
Did the horse, because, you know, like the way Eric Clapton asked you to stop singing Layla?
Yes.
So did the horse sort of turn around
Yes,
and go,
come on,
can you
come on.
stop that?
It's embarrassing.
Steve, that's one of my favourite stories.
It's a really lovely story.
That would be good. I had a similar thing this week. I met.
What happened?
I met Ricky from the Kaiser Chiefs, and I was constantly on the. I predict it right. I mean, I was so. It was always there.
You're so embarrassing.
Well, it's in my mind.
I know, but you can't do that in front of these people. You're part of the civilised society now.
Anyway, the bike thing. I was thinking it's a good thing to learn things late. I think you appreciate things more. If I learnt when I was 5, I wouldn't
think
have
you're right.
But now I can. I'm working on the two-fingered whistle. You know that thing that people do? I don't think it's too late, even for me now, to go for the two-fingered whistle. I mean, it's not as popular as it was in the age of political correctness. But, yeah, I'm going to work on it. If there's any kind of tips anyone would like to send me for a two-fingered whistle, 8, 12, 15.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We've had a tip for the whistling
yeah.
from Stuart. He says the four-finger whistle is easier. Roll the tip of your tongue and blow.
Oh,
Very Lauren Bacall.
forefinger.
Yeah, it's
so-
a bit Humphrey Bogart.
Work in progress.
You looked a bit like the old Happy Eater logo as
Yes.
you did that.
Yes. Roll that. Here we go. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll keep you posted.
I don't really like that.
This time next week I'll be starting the show with it. I mean, with the whistle, not with that.
Oh, I can't wait.
People think-
411. What's the 411, Frank? Has.
I don't know what that means.
Does anyone else know what that means? I do. It's a Mary J. Blige album.
Blige.
Blige, I think you pronounce it. Maybe you do say Blige. I've always said Blige.
I think it's Blige.
I think it's spelt Blige, but I think people say Mary J. Blige.
I believe her name is a pun on Much Obliged.
I think you made that up, Frank.
It's a sort of thank you to all her fans. She adopted that as a stage name.
411 was the equivalent of director inquiries in America for many years.
Oh.
What's the 411? Anyway,
Oh,
411 has
good
got
to
in
know.
touch. I'm teaching you a lot this morning, Frank. Whatever happened to
Yeah.
hopscotch?
Now, can I say, I went to a school sports...
And was there hopscotch?
And there was hopscotch. There was
Okay.
hopscotch and then some. So I'm afraid...
Sorry.
I mean, it's a good try, but I still see hopscotch, what would one call them? Courts, temporary hopscotch courts on the pavement near my house.
Do you know what? I like that you're quite strict about gaining entry to whatever happened to
You don't get a jingle unless it really makes me think, oh, wow, yes, of course. I mean, Papier Mâché was from the top end.
This could be a decent Room 101 spin-off.
Yes.
I
Pitch it,
think
commission times 6.
keep the standards high.
Yes, exactly. That's it. That's a general rule in life.
On the subject of having suggested we pitch that as a TV idea, there's hot news from the world of TV. Researchers have done some research, as they are wont to do, showing that 63% of Brits...
Can I stop you there? I just love that you said, as they are wont to do. It was like being on
Much of a
Breakfast
muchness. It's gone a bit much of a muchness. What will mine be?
So what did these crazy researchers say?
They reckon that 63% of Brits, and I always love a bit of research that refers to people as Brits, think that having the right taste in television makes you a more attractive person.
100.
And
you agree with that?
They suggest that the attractive programmes to watch, Sherlock and Game of Thrones, whereas, conversely, EastEnders and, brace yourself, Doctor Who...
Oh, what a surprise.
...are a dating red flag.
That is...
Doctor Who? Doctor Who helping police with their inquiries? I think so.
That's wrong. I'd be...
Well, it's
genuinely attracted to someone who likes Doctor Who.
But it's odd that Game of Thrones Game of Thrones gets the thumbs up, but Doctor Who gets the thumbs down. That doesn't seem fair at all.
That's because no one's actually seen Game of Thrones.
No, excuse me, I have. And your dearest friend is in it, so I'd shut right up if I were you.
I know that. I have several friends in it.
No, don't we all?
Yes.
Everyone is in it. But I would say, with Doctor Who...
Well, I know what I would say about people saying that about Doctor Who, but it would all go a bit Rebecca Adlington. That's so outrageous. Go on.
Let me tell you the theory. I know you were saying, well, actually, what's the difference? The difference is, I hate to say, there is a lot of money and glamour involved in Game of Thrones. There's not tin foil in Shepperton. That's
neither is Doctor Who,
It is. I know you keep saying it's moved on, it's different. I tried to watch it.
When did you last watch it? 1964?
No, I watched it only the other week.
There's no tin foil.
It doesn't matter how much money they throw at it, it's still regional sci-fi.
That is...
It's kicking off. It is kicking off.
But I kind of love it.
Look, we're going to have to go to a break while I have a shower.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're talking about people who watch TV programmes and whether the fact that they like those TV shows makes them unattractive to the opposite sex. Or the same sex.
EastEnders surprises me as well. I thought they're not frightened of commitment. If you watch EastEnders.
No, well, that's true, because they say that's seen as unattractive. I don't know. I'm going to say something. I'm going to get in trouble. It's all going to go a bit Helen Skelton's legs.
Okay.
I don't like men who watch soaps. Now, that's controversial.
It's a bit homophobic.
I know. No. Gays are allowed to watch them. Gays are allowed to watch soaps. Straight men are not allowed.
Oh, straight. We've got nothing left, straight men. We've lost Helen Skelton's legs, soaps.
First they came for Emmerdale, and I did nothing.
I just find it weird if I went round and said, oh, sorry, I've just, Sky Plus, EastEnders, Emmerdale. I mean...
Well, I think that's the key difference, isn't it? It's what things... Whether you watch something just because it's on... Yes. Or whether you Sky Plus it. Like, I'd be alarmed if someone sort of went, I TiVo Homes Under the Hammer. You'd immediately think that there's something wrong with them.
I'd immediately think, what's TiVo?
Oh, TiVo is like Sky Plus, darling.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It was the American system which came over here.
Okay. I'm sorry, I have certain loyalty
to
Sky Plus.
But yeah, if someone went, I'm recording, I've got to get back, I'm recording the one show, you'd immediately think, okay, that's...
I've recorded the one show.
Well, I'm a big...
When you've been on it?
No, I've recorded it. I recorded it recently when Zola Bod was on it.
Well, I recorded it when they did a special on Henry VIII.
It's good.
Sue me.
There you go.
But that's
very snooty.
However...
Snooty Steve Snooty Hall. Lord Snooty. That's what I'm calling it.
Oh, I'm loving your topical insults.
Good, I like the one show.
I feel bad about what I said about those Doctor Who people. Because,
quite right.
No, I think maybe I should take that back. There's some lovely people, and they're kind, I suspect, the Doctor Who fans. Do you know what I mean? They're not nasty people.
No, exactly. They're intelligent people.
Yeah.
And
sorry,
look
Doctor
at me.
Who fans.
Doctor
It's one of the
Who-
most
Doctor-
creative shows.
Yeah, Doctor Who is at the centre of my universe.
I mean, it's still...
Oh, he's the loneliest man in
Take that back.
Okay,
No, I don't understand it, really.
I officially apologise, but there
Good
still
Lord.
is tinfoil. However, man watching Hollyoaks? No. I mean, that
If
counts
a
as
man's
so.
watching Hollyoaks, that's for all the wrong reasons.
Anyone watching Hollyoaks should.
Yeah.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
The shows that are the biggest turn off for me are it's any of those.
I don't like you saying turn off, Frank, 'cause
so,
when you
yeah.
get a bit creepy.
But that's that strata of show that's anything that's let's sneer
Do
at
you
poor
mean
people.
the shows you find too much of a muchness?
Yes, yeah.
As you all want to do.
the shows that really get my goose.
Ah, yes. See, everyone else would have said goat, but Steve has to suggest some sort of bomb pinching.
Do you know why? Also, there's an element of the Lord Snooty about that as well. So you're one better, haven't you?
I hate those let's sneer at poor people shows. Ironically, we're given the persona that's just been given to me. I hate those. Anything where it's like, look at these savages, and people who enjoy sneering at the way less fortunate people live. I really hate those shows.
Do you
It's
mean
all got a
like-
bit Jeremy Corbyn on Absolute Radio.
So people like Benefit Street, which is
yes.
just sneering at
Yes.
at people less fortunate. Or
But
I feel
that's
uncomfortable
how a
with.
lot of kids learn to read and write. Oh, that's Sesame Street. Sorry. Can we do that again, Paul?
What about
Live?
Frank?
Are you kidding me?
Frank, what about songs of
No,
praise?
I agree with
Oh,
that.
do you?
I think
I
Jeremy
agree with that as
Kyle
well.
is the equivalent of the people on the prison cell door.
I don't think I like middle-class people watching that being sneery.
No.
Sorry, I don't. I tell you, the other thing, songs of praise. Now, you follow the Nazarene.
I do follow the Nazarene.
Would you Sky Plus songs of praise?
No.
Sorry.
I find it a bit Church of England.
That's the idea of someone Sky Plusing songs of praise.
No, it's-
Well, you've got to TiVo it. There's a crack in All Things Bright and Beautiful on tonight.
Oh, yeah, exactly. No, I wouldn't. I mean, I have respect for anyone who does.
Do you watch it, Songs of Praise, ever?
Is it still on?
Yeah, Ala Jones does it.
No, I don't watch it. I say it's extremely Anglican. and some weeks it is from, like, Catholic churches, and even then they feel more Anglican than they normally do. I think they send in, like, dressers to Anglican it up a bit. You know, the Union Jack in the corner.
Would you say also... see, I don't like people that get their news from Channel 5. I've got to be honest.
Oh.
I think that's weird. Why watch Channel 5?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine for certain things. I just wouldn't go to it as a reliable news source.
I don't like people... I don't think I could go out with anyone who Sky Plus a programme featuring a comedian who wasn't me.
I noticed when I came in this morning and said I'd been to see Louis C.K. last night, and it was phenomenal, and I noticed a foie dieu.
Well, it's all,
Exactly.
you know... Well, there's two things there. First of all,
Oh, well, here we
it
go.
is a bit Martin Bashir, there are three people in this marriage. It was that. But also, I have a thing. I hear so many English people falling over themselves about American comedians that it makes me feel a little bit nauseous.
Would it help if I told you you are still and will always be the funniest person I know?
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Lord Snooty, Steve Hall. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
For people just tuning in at the top of the hour, we should explain the reason Frank's given Steve this extraordinary nickname, Lord Snooty, is because he said he thought it was a bit tragic to record the One Show. And I sort of agreed with you, if I'm honest. I don't know why I'm doing a volte-face.
Don't do a vault fast. I think...
I realise there are weirder shows.
Didn't we get a silver medal in the vault fast?
There are weirder shows to. If someone recorded embarrassing bodies, that would freak me out.
I could imagine somebody doing that, though.
I can imagine a pervert doing it.
Oh, come on, you can imagine a pervert, all right.
You don't want to record with embarrassing bodies when so often you can just live with it.
Exactly.
Now.
I have a mirror.
Now. I want to go back to the Olympics. There's so much stuff I still want to discuss with you boys.
Did you see, Bradley Wiggins did the thing during the national anthem?
What did he do?
The camera went on him for that, you know that moment when they get a bit tearful and proud?
It's normally Rain Over Us, I find.
Yeah, well, that's what brings the tears out, some subliminal messaging. And they went to him and he stuck his tongue out in a sort of Gaza-like way.
Yeah.
And it was funny and it was a bit rebellious and I liked it for that. He had a bit of a white coat in it, sort of undercut the whole gesture.
Well, you could see the Daily Mail headline writers just having a conniption fit in their office.
What's that mean?
Just going apoplectic. I'm trying to use more of the old-styley phrases.
Oh, okay.
Conniption.
Just the fact that they're going, how do we handle this? He's won a gold medal, but he's been disrespectful to the Queen.
It's not so much he's been disrespectful, but I thought he'd be a lot fitter or a lot more well than his tongue suggests.
Look, let's be frank. Lazy headline writer doing an interview with you, as you once said. Frank told us earlier, which I loved, that when people did profiles or interviews with him, he said it was very common that the interview would be called... The headline would be...
It's usually frankly speaking. Or being frank.
Yeah.
But I spoke to Lawrence Fox about this and asked him
what does he get?
How many times he gets fantastic Mr. Fox.
Box in the box. So, yes, anyway, I think with Wiggins, I agree with you. If you're going to do that gesture, you've really got to do grooming beforehand with the tongue.
Surely he's a fit man. And very hydrated. I'm worried about him.
So
if I was reaching towards the screen with a wooden lollipop stick trying to press it down.
So he's going to get so many scrapers for Christmas from his
Everyone
can
benefit from the tongue scrape.
I bet you he's already got about 200 doctors tweeting him saying, come and see me, I won't charge you anything. We can sort all this out. Anyway, it was marvellous to watch.
And then there was also, what about the green pool?
The green pool was brilliant in a way.
So it turned green, didn't it, for the diving?
Well, there's two pools next to each other. There's the swimming pool and the diving pool. And
the water polo, they did.
The water, and the one of them is beautifully blue, like a swimming pool. The other one is, like they've dived. It's like that sort of, what do they call it? Raw swimming or something? Free swimming. When people go and swim in canals, it's like that.
It looks like a lime jelly.
Wow.
Oh, imagine diving into a lime jelly.
Did you hear the rumour it was the fake tan? That's what someone said.
Oh, I really hope it was.
It was because so many of them are using fake tan now.
Isn't the stuff that stops you weeing in the pool that if you wee in a public pool, it changes the colour of it?
That was urban myth when we were children.
Is it?
It's basically snitches on you. Yeah, there's a dye, I suppose, that it grasses you up.
A bit like anti-burglar paint. You remember that stuff?
I heard there was a pool in Glasgow that, that always happened with the urban myth. They'd make it in Glasgow, somewhere you'd never go. And
mate of mine told me.
Yeah, and they'd say that an alarm went off and you were surrounded by red dye. I don't believe that. And then the pool will be red suddenly.
No, red dye, though, was that socialist Welshman that worked there, who handled security.
But they're trying so hard to sort of pretend that it's not that bad.
I've got my fez on.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Before we continue, can I just alert you to the fact that we've had a number of people texting us to praise your shirt, which we posted on social media, your T-shirt. Richard Chapman, he actually says cracking fez shirt combo. But Ben Carter, fantastic T-shirt. Andrew Moore, good shirt.
Can't believe
I could go on.
I never get complimented on what I wear.
We've even had inquiries. Clarence, where can I get that T-shirt?
Can they all tweet Bumble? Who gave me such stick. I actually bought this. I went to see the Cosmonaut exhibition.
You should describe it, Frank. It's a red T-shirt.
Yes, it is very much a red T-shirt. It symbolises the Soviet space programme. And it's got a It's got a space capsule.
It's got a rocket, and then
And it's got a hammer and sickle on. I'll be straight with that. And but yeah, so I'm guessing they're still in the Science Museum shop. But you can get them, I'm sure, online from the Science Museum.
How did that feel, being asked where to buy your clothes?
It was. I don't think it's ever happened to me before. I mean, a man in Holland and Barrett once asked me to turn the plastic bag inside out. So that people didn't know I shopped there. So no, it's lovely. You must get it all the time, Em, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Where did you get that?
Yeah, where did you get that hat? I get it often on Twitter.
I get the same question, but just with a different tone of voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did you get that, Snooty?
People are about to commend you for putting money into charity shops. This is a good thing to do.
Anyway, meanwhile, over in the diving pool...
Oh yes. What about Tom Daley and Dan Goodfellow? Did you watch that?
It was brilliant. It was really...
I love a synchronised dive.
Oh.
And I'll tell you something I didn't know. I love watching men in trunks embracing.
Oh my God.
There's a real sense of...
Especially when they're called Goodfellow.
It makes me feel very relaxed. It's just something very... You know what I mean? Like, men are so touchy about stuff.
Yes.
There's a bit when they're waiting for the scores, the two of them standing up, one with I think Tom's got his arm round Dan. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life.
And again, the Daily Mail had to be kind of horrible about it, and it was sort of trying to imply that they were overdoing it a bit, or there was something a little bit effeminate, whereas it was like the Chinese athletes went for a manly pat on the back. They're still stigmatising it. It's particularly disgusting.
But we also bring out
an
alternative paper called the Tom Daily Mail.
Yeah.
It's more. Well, I was sitting at home waving my master pan.
Oh dear.
You know the master pan?
Yes, I do know it.
I've got one of those, so I waved them for Tom. I mean, I took all the hot fat out of it. That would have been
these divers. Is it Chris Mears and is it Jack Larfer?
Well, I think it's pronounced Law.
Oh, can't we call it Larfer? Because that means he can get a job in this studio.
Yeah, we could do with a couple.
We need some staff.
Bless you,
Thank
by the
you.
way.
That was cool.
You know, I felt that hit my arm.
Oh, Frank.
I'll say no more about it. Yes.
Jack Larfer. No, I won't call him Lar. He's Larfer.
Lar.
They took gold in the green pool.
Yeah.
And they got together. They did a very...
Red, gold and green.
They had one of those quite nice Vauxhall Club cuddles, which I liked. But his girlfriend, afterwards, she was saying, look, people always think he's gay. I think it's Chris. Or is it Jack she goes out with? I always forget. Anyway.
They're so synchronised, I can't tell them.
She said people often think that. Because they live together and they have a mortgage together, the two boys.
Ah.
Which I'd like. She said it's not true. She said they're always together. I don't mind him posing for gay times. If that's what he has to do, fine.
Okay.
Now, when you say he has to do it, it's not really part of his job description.
No.
I mean, I love that he did it. Good on him.
It's, I don't know, that's... Oh, I like the sound of her, though. I do. That reminds me of when I found an ankle bracelet in bed. And said to a woman, oh, that cleaner, she's always leaving stuff about. I'm not proud of that.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
You know, we were talking about the green pool.
The green pool, yeah.
A spokesman for the Rio 16.
Did the British cycling team have a spokesman?
Oh, lovely.
Hey.
A spokesman said they had failed to take into account that lots of people would be using the pool.
Yeah, that was a lack of foresight.
I mean, it's going to always be a busy
I'm
time.
Strictly Come Dancing.
They're making such weak excuses for the green pool because there's another because now there's one of the German swimmers has now said that the whole building has started to smell of farts. Apparently,
can we say that on here?
I just don't like it.
But apparently the Olympic,
Lord Smelly, more like
the Olympic organisers.
Stop him.
Is that too far? All right, do your Tarzan impression again, Frank.
I can't do my Tarzan impression. You know that.
Okay.
But apparently the Olympic organising committee, their excuse was they replied, "He who smelt it dealt it," which I think is a weak response.
Oh.
People are having their breakfast. That's what you don't think about.
You don't think about.
I do.
Now,
Believe me, I do.
the other thing, well, we've discussed. I think we've done enough on the green pool, probably, because it's making me feel a bit sick. But what I would like to talk about is what about this commentator?
Could it possibly be a mood pool?
Oh.
Do you remember those mood rings that used
Yes.
to change colour? That would be brilliant.
So blue to green. I wonder what that
So if I'm
signifies.
really happy, someone who's very, very tense jumps in.
Yeah.
There's just been so much tension in that pool.
Oh yeah, the muscle tension for a start.
Just generally anxiety.
Yeah.
Set the damn thing green.
the damn thing.
If you get some of them to jump in after they've won, it'll all come back again.
The old pea soup. Pea soup with a few mussels in there.
I love the idea of a mood pool, though.
I'd love it if it went pink suddenly.
Anyway. Yeah.
But there are many others.
Paul's gone rainbow? How did that happen?
There's lots of joyful things happening in this Olympics.
Well, except the commentator who got the wrong, confused his Phelps with his Ryan can never pronounce the
poor man.
surname correctly.
Poor Canadian man.
Oh, we commentated on an entire race calling the wrong person.
It's Ryan. How do you say that man's name?
Lochte.
Lochte. He kept saying. I mean, it's not. I was going to say it's an easy mistake to make, but it is a bit. You had one job.
It is, yeah. And they do swim in numbered lanes.
Well, and I read about it before I heard it, and when you read about it, you think, oh, it can't be that bad, and then you hear the commentary, and it's awful.
Elliot Friedman,
it's
his
really
name is.
bad.
Well, you don't want to be mistaken for the greatest swimmer of all time. She's saying, oh, wow, he's absolutely swimming out of his skin today. What a day he's having. This is amazing. I mean, he's actually a cyclist. He shouldn't even be in it. I know, it's...
It was when he said, well, he's saving the best for last.
Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't. He was last.
But, you know...
He wasn't last, but, you know.
We all make mistakes, Gordon. I don't know what that meant. What did that mean?
Why Gordon? Was it a reference to Flash Gordon?
It's not nothing. It was
Commissioner
It was just a
Gordon?
mistake. I got your name wrong. That was it.
What, you
That was
called
the
me
basis of
Gordon?
it. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, it's weird, I know. I've been a damn fool of myself.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I went on a speed awareness course recently, which I've yet to tell you all about.
That I that you said then reminded me of a song. What song's got I? I who have nothing. Oh, is it
Well, I'm afraid that's not true in my case.
No, indeed not.
Now,
What did you go on?
I went on a speed awareness course.
Was this a state-mandated speed awareness course?
Yes.
Has anyone ever been on one voluntarily? You know what? I'd like to be more aware of my speed.
I think I'm going to pay. I think it's £93,
Oh.
something like that.
Do you have to pay?
Of course I do, yeah. And I won't lie, you take it. I think we're allowed to say this if you would like that as an alternative to having points on your licence. Which, as a motoring correspondent, it's very important for me to have a clean licence.
Indeed, yeah.
Some of the, the vehicles I'm driving right now.
Well, I write a column, as you know, about dogs for Peter Purvis's We Love Dogs magazine, and I have to have a clean dog licence.
Do you still need a dog licence? I think you should.
Oh, yeah, 7 and 6.
Okay. Well, I was caught doing, unlike some, I'll confess to my crimes, 36 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. I'm not proud.
Yeah.
It was, there were 2 lanes of traffic. It wasn't quite a dual carriageway, but it wasn't, well, that is, I suppose, a dual carriageway. Yeah. Anyway, we all met for Camden. You're in a hotel conference room.
Oh, okay.
You're there for 5 hours.
I bet I know the hotel. Is it that sort of Holiday Inn-ish
Yes,
one?
it's exactly that Holiday
I went
Inn-ish
to a
one.
comedy gig there.
Well, this turned out to be a comedy gig in more ways than one. Because it's run by 2 characters from the AA.
Okay.
And this guy, let's call him Tony, because that was his name.
Let's call them Alan and Arthur.
Yeah, okay. I knew from the start what sort of person Tony was going to be, because when I had to sign...
There it goes. It could be Tony Arthur, who used to work
Tony
on...
Arthur. Okay, let's say Alan. We'll call him Alan.
Okay.
I knew what sort of person Alan was going to be, because he handed me the sign, the form, I'm sorry, to sign, and he said, OK, sign your life away.
Oh.
And then he asked if he could have my autograph. So I thought, in that sort of humorous
in that comedy way, yeah. Put your moniker on that.
Yes, it was a bit. So, OK, he had a lanyard, coach driver's sleeves on the shirt.
Yeah, OK.
I'm getting the measure. And I think Alan was a bit of a frustrated stand-up comedian.
Okay.
He had a lot of material. He said, class of 2016, OK, what is the maximum speed you can do on a single carriageway? What is the legal speed limit, I'm asking you, on a single carriageway? And then someone answered, and he called us class of 2016 again. That was his thing. He called someone a clever clogs. He went, some clever clogs has got it right.
Brilliant.
Then he said, what must you always remember? What must you always remember to do when you're out on the roads as a motorist? Be alert. That's it. Be alert. Remember, your country needs alerts.
Oh, wow.
I think it went silent, and I think it was audible. I went, oh.
Did you?
It was my reaction. I couldn't help it.
Because there'll be men at home isolating that sound and keeping it. For their
He then
ringtone.
said, and you might be able to answer this, because I didn't know this, and Alan told me, what is the comment you'd most expect to hear from a driver emerging from a vehicle when he's had an encounter with a cyclist? What comment would you most expect to hear? Can I tell you? It's Smidsy. Sorry, mate, I didn't see you.
Oh, Smidsy.
Yeah, Smidsy.
Smidsy, of course.
He told us, where there's a van, there's a man.
Not necessarily. What if it's hot? No men are left in this van overnight.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Sorry to bring you back down to earth with a bump, but we're now going back into the speed awareness course over in a very corporate hotel in the Camden area, where I'm with the fellow felons, I suppose, for the day.
I imagine it's a very tough crowd as well, because they
Oh,
don't
it was a
want
tough
to. They don't
crowd.
want to be there.
There was a lot of
boys.
cab drivers there. Not black cab drivers, I should say. Respect.
Okay.
Yeah. He said I'm sorry, Alan. Alan
did
said
they
at one
sit
point, we
with-
get a lot of celebrities here, actually, doing this course, so if you see them, try not to draw attention to them and keep their head down.
Okay.
Oh, I was so insulted he didn't recognise me. I mean, can you imagine? I kept hinting. I said yes on my radio show.
When he said, put your autograph on there, was there a second when you thought he'd
Yeah.
recognise you?
I was really gutted.
Oh.
I was treated like a normal person.
Did the cab driver sit with their backs to the stage?
You all had to go round, like sort of AA, being honest about the speed you were caught
Well,
doing.
it was the AA, wasn't it?
No, I mean the other type of
Okay.
AA. And you
Oh,
had
really?
to
You have to
say,
say what
yeah,
speed
people
you'd
put
done.
their hands up, and there was one woman, and she said 71. I thought, she doesn't look bad, really. She said 71. Everyone went, oh! I did it the loudest. I went, oh! And then she said, well, it was a 70-mile-an-hour zone, so that's not that bad. She was only one, yeah.
Did she let it? Did she
She
let
lied,
that
that
pause though?
She lied.
That was a 20 mile an hour zone. Tower Bridge.
Did anyone go like, I win?
No. But what they did do, at one point Tony was saying, I'm sorry, Alan, I'm never going to get with this Alan thing.
No, I'm calling Tony.
He was
if you like.
asking us how we might identify that this was a pedestrian area where there might be a potentially dangerous area for pedestrians. What signs would you look for in the street that might tell you this was a potentially dangerous area for pedestrians? What signs? Any signs on the street?
Blind drivers. That
Do you know what
blind
one
driver
lady
sign.
said? I think he was expecting speed bumps, that kind of thing. Do you know what one lady said? She went, flowers on a lamppost.
Oh, God.
Whoa! Alan said, that's quite extreme. It's quite extreme sign, that one.
That's good thinking on her part.
Yeah.
Huh?
And she wouldn't have it. She said, well, there's been bear deaths around here in Camden.
Wow.
I know. It was hardcore.
No, but these are people who are at the cutting edge of motoring.
But I actually quite enjoyed it in the end.
Did you learn anything about? Are you more aware of speed?
Oh, I know so much more. I do.
Okay.
I mean, don't test me on it, but I felt it was good for me to bond with people like that in a sort of Marie Antoinette way. And
Yes.
I also felt, you know, it has changed my driving, honestly. I'm more
drive
cautious
slower?
now. Well, put it this way, I slow down when I drop people off now.
Do you?
Sometimes even stop.
Terrific.
Oh, okay.
Now,
well done for doing
thank you.
that.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And if anyone else is about to do a speed awareness course, you see, it's not that bad. It's a bit of fun.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
As we enter the last couple of minutes of today's show, we've had an email from
Get the fez out.
We've got an email from Johnny in Auckland. Who says, hi Frank, Emily and Alan, here's a question for you. I gather that you all still go for breakfast together after the show every week. I was just wondering what you all talk about over breakfast, considering that you've just spent 3 hours catching up with each other during the show. Is it a quiet meal punctuated by the occasional scraping of cutlery on plates and Alan asking the waitress for HP sauce?
I don't like this. It's got a bit Davros.
I realised it needed clearing halfway through. It was. I was hoping it would go away.
Washing machine
From Stingray.
Or do you all? I'll try it.
We won't get your tempest.
I think I'm back to normal again now. Or do you all suffer from esprit d'escalier?
Well, I'm
missed
sorry,
a chance to mention something on the show.
That exciting moment when someone reads out your email and then ruins it with their horrible phlegm voice.
I was a bit phlegmy from Motorhead today.
I'm thinking we should do this again next week, because I think we've spoilt it.
Have I ruined it for Johnny in Auckland?
So extreme.
Why don't we do Johnny in Auckland again next week in a proper voice?
I will try. And I feel like I've blown my chance at the Olympics.
Well, I tell you what we could do is, and this would be the ultimate honour for Johnny in Auckland, we could discuss this over brunch.
But, yeah, we could do.
Yes.
We could but let's make him a cliffhanger. He probably is if he lives in... There's nothing else to do out there.
I can exclusively reveal that's true.
Yes. Because you live there.
I lived there, and we did nothing.
Yes. What about something that happened to me this week? I was in church, and they do a homily, the sermon thing. And the priest was talking about how money was the root of all evil, etc. And he said, I was reading a thing in the Daily Telegraph. I'd like to quote something that Frank Skinner said, and I thought, oh my God, I'm being quoted in the.
That's
and
amazing.
people knew I went up slightly tense. And in an interview, I'd said, they said, "Does money make you happy?" And I said, "No, putting other people first makes you happy."
Oh.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, I love that.
And yeah, I was braced for 3 or 4 high fives. At least, nothing. But people were looking around. I mean, I felt I had to be especially... when the plate came round, I thought, oh, God, I have to go a bit heavy duty on it today. But it's quite a moment.
That's lovely, yeah.
I'm really touched by that. I like that.
Yeah.
We've just had a text from 996 who said, Frank, I've just asked Google how old you are, which it correctly told me, but next to a picture of Buzz Aldrin.
Oh, they're confusing it.
I ain't that Google.
Frank.
When you Google... You see, if you Google image...
Yourself.
Well, let's say Kylie Minogue.
Oh,
4
and then
pictures down, you'll get Robert Mugabe.
and then you get Schnorbits
And
or
then
something.
a picture of a
Yeah.
test tube. I mean, what's the point of Google Images if they can't keep it together? Thanks very much for listening, and if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.